Hello everyone, and welcome to another video by hellopackets.com. In this video, I'm going to show you how to configure EIGRP. I'm just going to go over a basic configuration. EIGRP is a dynamic routing protocol that runs on Cisco routers, and basically it is used to advertise subnets or networks from router to router. So basically, we're going to get right on the command line here, and in this topology, I just simply have two routers connected via Ethernet on this 140.1.1.0/24 subnet. Router 1 has a IP address of 140.1.1.1, and router 2 has an IP address of 140.1.1.2. Before I begin, I'm going to basically first I'm going to test connectivity between router 1 and router 2 just to make sure they have ping connectivity. So on router 1, I'm going to ping router 2. Okay, we have connectivity. So now that we know we have basic connectivity, I can start by configuring the EIGRP. So first, we're going to go to global config. Okay, and now that I'm in global config mode, what I'm going to do is do router EIGRP. Now you can use any autonomous system number that you want, but both router 1 and router 2 must have the same autonomous system numbers in order for them to form a neighbor adjacency. So in this particular example, I'm going to use 10. Okay, now after you do router EIGRP 10, what you got to do is pretty much decide on which interfaces you want to enable EIGRP on. In this particular example, router 1, which is interface FA0/0, and we can see that if we do a do show IP interface brief. Okay, and that's where we have the IP address configured. So I want to enable EIGRP for now only on this interface. So what I can do is I can copy this interface, and while I'm in EIGRP mode, basically do a network, and I'm going to paste the IP address, and then I'm going to do 0000. And what that means is I want to run EIGRP only on that particular interface. Now you can do a 0.0.0.255, okay, and that would still enable EIGRP on the interface, but just so best practice is you don't want to overlap. If you have another interface with a similar subnet, I should say IP address, you could potentially enable EIGRP on two interfaces, and you might not want to do that. So for best practice, we recommend running EIGRP. We're going to basically just do it on this particular interface and use all zeros. So after you do network 140.1.1.1.0.0.0, press enter, and we're going to write mem, save that configuration. And now, just to make sure and see what protocols are running, I'm going to do a show IP protocol summary. Okay, and as you can see, we have EIGRP 10 running. Now, we're going to go to router 2, do the same thing. We're going to check and see what interface has the IP address. And it's basically FA00 has the .2. So now I'm going to go to global config mode, do router EIGRP 10, same as I used on same autonomous system number that was used on router 1. They have to be the same. Okay, and then we're going to do network, and we're going to copy the IP address for that interface and do all zeros. And then that's it. We're going to save the configuration. Now, if you notice, neighbor adjacency has already came up. You can see that on both router 1 and router 2. Okay. You can also do a show IP EIGRP neighbors, and it will show you router 2. My neighbor is router 1's IP address. My local interface is FA00 that I'm connecting to. Here's the hold timers, and this is the uptime of the adjacency. Now EIGRP has a default hello default hello time is 5 seconds and the hold time is 15 seconds. So that means every 5 seconds, router 1 and router 2 will send in hello packets between each other. Okay, and if it doesn't receive a reply within 15 seconds, it determines that neighbor is being down. Okay, now we do a show IP route on router 1. You'll notice we only have connected routes, our connected interface. We don't have any EIGRP routes with, which is actually a D. So if you see a D, that means that's an EIGRP route. And the reason we don't have any EIGRP routes is because we're directly connected. So what we need to do is create some loopbacks on router 1 and router 2 and advertise those loopback addresses into EIGRP, and then we should see those routes received on both sides. So on router 1, I'm going to create a loopback 0 interface. Go to global config, type in interface loopback 0. And I'm going to give it an IP address. It really doesn't matter. I'm just going to use all ones. IP address 1.1.1. Subnet mask to all 255s, which is just /32. Okay. Now do a show IP interface brief. And there's my loopback. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to add this loopback into my EIGRP configuration. And to see the current configuration, you can do a show run section EIGRP. Okay. And as you can see, we only basically have EIGRP running on our fast Ethernet 0/0 interface. Now we're going to go back to router EIGRP 10. And now we're going to do a network command, and we're going to copy the loopback IP address and do all zeros. Okay. I'm going to save that configuration. And another command I forgot to mention is the show IP EIGRP topology, and that can show you what subnets/networks that you have in your EIGRP topology. So if we do show IP EIGRP topology, okay, so what we can see here is you'll see this is the loopback that I'm advertising, okay, and this is a summary of that loopback, and this is the 141. This is my connected fast Ethernet 0/0/0 interface, and this is a summary of that. Okay, now these particular that you see has null, so I mean these summary addresses are not getting advertised to router 2. So if you go to router 2, we should see a D route for router 1's loopback. So let's do a show IP route. And there we go. We see a D route from router 1's IP address. This is the neighbor. Okay, now we should be able to ping 1.1.1. And it was successful. Okay, now if you go back to router 1, we won't see anything from router 2 yet because we haven't advertised anything else. We're directly connected to router 2, so we need to add some loopbacks or some other networks on router 2 to advertise to router 1. Okay. Now router 2. Oops, sorry. Let me create the interface first. Interface loopback. Let's just say loopback 2. And we're going to do IP address of all 2s. Subnet mask all 255s. Oops, sorry. IP address. Oh, forgot the D. Okay. Now go to router EIGRP 10. Network. Add the loopback. Save that configuration. Now on router 1, we should see the 2 right here. Okay, now let's ping 2.2.2.2. Successful. And if we look on router 2, show IP EIGRP topology, we'll see everything that is being advertised in EIGRP on in this particular autonomous system, which is 10. For more detailed information on EIGRP and to get yourself familiar with some free labs and hands-on, and we strongly advise you to get a copy of Master CCNA, and if you're looking for more advanced EIGRP, get a copy of the Master CCNP book. Again, go to hellopackets.com and download some free labs and get your hands-on experience and skills up with EIGRP. And thank you for watching this video.